Hello, Robert Radford here with another game for you from 50 Years of Chess. I had on one or two occasions played a fellow named Ed Varley. This was a very interesting game and I want to share it with you, as I'm sure you will find it interesting also. Ed was playing white and he opened with c4. So I replied with a Dutch defence, something I have employed on occasions, but mainly on the internet rather than over-the-board match play. As the game opens, Ed plays bishop g5. Now, usually I've gone in d5 and played a stonewall variation of the Dutch, but on this occasion I delayed it. And as the game goes on, it gets very, very interesting. He's now thrown an e4. He hasn't castled yet, which is a bit unusual. But I check him and I'm able to get the queens off. And here, I shouldn't have any problem drawing, I don't think. So here comes that delayed d-pawn. And as he takes my bishop and I take his knight, I have a solid centre of pawns, which is often the way it is with the Dutch if a player knows what they're doing. He took in the centre, I retook with my c-pawn. So at this stage, Stockfish has given us even position, and just changed from 0-0 to 0-1 in my favour, so I'm slightly better. So Ed played b4, I played a6, he played a4, and I've got my knight out onto c6 now. Will he push the pawn on? But he can't, because I've got pawn takes pawn, rook takes rook. Well, he can, I guess, but it would be interesting to see what... Oh, he did it. He did do it. Alright, he did do it. So, I dropped my knight back to e7. He's attacking with his rook on a7. I've moved my knight into a better position that I can bring it back to d6 and protect that b-pawn. But he moved his knight back to e1 for some strange reason and allowed me to take the d-pawn. This is a mistake. It's a big one. He's now brought his bishop back to protect the pawn. And this is where I'm going to take advantage of my situation as I push my b-pawn to b6, locking in that pawn. He's brought his bishop out to d3, and now I'm offering a queen swap, and he attacks a bishop, pinning it, but I bring my rook across in front of the bishop, and then I'll bring my king off the back rank in a moment. So he's gone behind the b-pawn, which I can't save unless I play the rook, but I'd lose the bishop. So he's got the pawn. He's back even again. Now I played the bishop up to d7 and he went back to b8 with the rook. So I went back and we got to swap off of rooks. So what Ed's going to do is he's going to try and push that pawn on with the help of the king. But what's interesting here is as he moves forward and I protect my knight and he goes forward again, I'm now pushing on, attacking his bishop. He wants to stay on that diagonal, the f1 to a6 diagonal, so he drops back, and now this is where I'm very happy because his knight cannot come out to c3, it cannot come out to c2, cannot come out to f3. His bishop can't go out to h3, and if it goes out to g2, it's going nowhere. So all I got to do is just prevent this pawn from going anywhere. And as we're moving, I'm moving my castle across. I moved it up so that this will give chance that when Ed goes into b6, I can go into e6. And that's what I did. Now, there's a net around Ed's king here. He can only move 2 places, and that is to a5 or a7. He goes to a7, and then I make it even harder for him because he can go down to b8, but then I move the bishop out, and it's going to get harder again. So he pushed his pawn instead to b6, and I was very pleased about this because I can come in with a knight check. He can now only go in one place, a8, and so the pawn's gone. But not only is the pawn gone, I've got checkmate with bishop b7, and the only way he can prevent it is by playing his bishop up. And when he does that, I take it, and then he can't move the king, so he's got to move a pawn or he's got to move his knight, and he's lost. So he resigned. It was a shock for him because he suddenly realised before he played bishop a6 that checkmate was coming. And I knew what I was doing, but I don't think he realised that he was in that much trouble. But it was interesting how I formed a mating net around him and got him. I hope this has been maybe beneficial to some people on how to do this sort of thing, and maybe how to play the Dutch defence to some degree of being able to get results. So I'm glad to have shown you this game, and I'll see you again pretty soon.